We got some breaking news on the Charlie Kirk assassination. So, the investigation into the fatal shooting of conservative activist Charlie Kirk at the Utah Valley University, authorities announced the arrest of 22-year-old Tyler Robinson from Washington, Utah, as a prime suspect, ending a tense 30-hour manhunt. According to the Utah Governor Spencer Cox and multiple law enforcement sources, Robinson, who allegedly fired a single high-powered bolt-action rifle shot from a rooftop, leaving behind casings engraved with anti-fascist and transgender-themed markings, was turned in by a family member after confessing or implying his involvement to relatives and a family friend, such as a youth pastor, who then alerted authorities on September 11th. President Donald Trump, in a Fox News interview, confirmed the development, stating with a high degree of certainty that we have him in custody, crediting someone very close to him, specifically mentioning the suspect's father, who convinced Robinson to surrender at police headquarters, while calling the act a heinous assassination and expressing condolences to the Kirks. Let's take a look. Let's take a look at President Trump announcing this on Fox News this morning.
Yesterday, you were at the 9/11 memorial. We were all watching that. And
Yeah.
J.D. Vance was supposed to be with you. He went out to be with Charlie Kirk's family and to get the body back to his hometown in Arizona. And you said you were going to award him the Presidential Medal of Freedom, which
That's
was
right.
very nice of you. Any updates on this suspect?
Yeah. Can I always say, I think, just to protect us all, and so Fox doesn't get sued, and we all don't get sued, and everything else. But I think with a high degree of certainty, we have him in custody, right? In custody. Everyone did a great job. We worked with the local police, the governor. Everybody did a great job. You know, getting somebody that you start off with absolutely nothing. And we started off with a clip that made him look like an ant that was almost useless. We just saw there was somebody up there. And so much work has been done over the last 2.5 days. You know, it's amazing, actually, when you start off with that and then all of a sudden you get lucky or talent or whatever it is. But, yeah, I think we're in great shape.
Mr. President.
And he's in custody.
Your suspicion was that he was radical left, and now you have more information. What can you share with us about his ideology?
Yeah, Lawrence, let me just, and by the way, Lawrence is doing a good job. What's going on?
Fantastic job, yeah.
Thank you, Mr.
I'll tell you what, I'm very proud of you.
Thank you, sir.
I said you were going to do well. Yeah, I think that I don't want to go too far. I'd like to tell you some stories that how it happened, but essentially somebody that was very close to him turned him in. And that happens when you had some of those good shots. Somebody is going to say, whether it's a parent or whatever, I'd rather not say right now. They're going to announce it today, sometime later, probably talk about that. But somebody close to him turned him, you know, they said, whoa. It's interesting where we had very good pictures, but not great, not perfect. And when you look at it, what happened is somebody, and this happens a lot. It happened with the crazy Boston bomber. It happened with others. Somebody that's close recognizes even a little tilt of the head, which nobody else would do. And somebody that was very close to him said, that's him. And essentially went to the father, went to a U.S. Marshal, who was fantastic, by the way. And the person was involved with law enforcement, but was a person of faith, a minister. And brought him to a U.S. Marshal, who was fantastic. And the father convinced the son, this is it. And again, I'm always subject to be corrected, but you know, I'm just giving you, based on what I'm hearing, they'll give you a much more active. I just heard about it 5 minutes before I walked in. As I'm walking in, they said, looking real good. They have the person that they wanted. So you have breaking news, don't you? Huh?
Thank you.
You always have breaking news, Ainsley. Sean's going to be very disappointed that we're not doing it on his show.
He'll be very thankful and appreciative of the
I think
police
so.
officers that got this
I
guy.
think they did a great job. Everybody worked together. Pam Bondi is incredible, by the way. People don't know what a star she is. She's incredible. And it all worked out.
Could I ask you just some clarification? So a pastor was able to turn him in, and where they got the family of the shooter to turn them in?
Well, it was a minister, and the minister went to a minister who was involved with law enforcement, by the way. And his good friend is a top U.S. Marshal. And they took it from there, and then it was a father got involved, namely his father, and said, we got to go in, and they, so I understand it, and again, subject to change, but, you know, the facts are the facts. We have the person that we think is the person we're looking for, but they drove into the police headquarters, and he's there now.
Did the father know about what the son had done?
I don't know. I'm going to let you get all those questions later, because I can't tell you how accurate. The bottom line is they have somebody that they think did it.
President Trump, as you see, broke the news on Fox News. This is an egregious act of great malevolence. It was a sad day. There's a lot of us who are lamenting the passing of Charlie Kirk. Plenty of us that believed in what he stood for, and there's a lot of disparaging things that are being, a lot of aspersions being cast about Charlie Kirk. I don't agree with. I think the man was fact and data driven. I think that he believed in what he believed, and he was willing to have an open conversation with people, and that's it. He didn't steal money. He didn't kill people. He didn't. He wasn't a legislator. It was nothing like that. He wasn't a legislator of laws that affected your life and my life. He did none of these things. He wasn't some world leader. People gravitated to him because of his candor and because of his beliefs. And he was willing to debate you on your beliefs and his beliefs. And I just think that this is the country that we live in, right? A lot of people say they want freedom of speech, but they don't believe it, especially when they rejoice in this family man losing his life, especially the way that he did. If it was your family member or someone that you loved, it wouldn't be so funny. I digress. Let's go to let's take a look here. So this was the breaking news. So MSNBC had broke the news MSNBC broke the news subsequent to President Trump announcing it on Fox News.
We are coming on the air with breaking news this morning. President Trump announcing on Fox News, on the show Fox and Friends, that a suspect is now in custody. The shooter, believed to be the shooter in the assassination of Charlie Kirk. We have NBC News correspondent Morgan Chesky on the ground in Utah. He is there on site. Morgan, thank you very much for being with us. President Trump saying about this person of interest. What exactly do we know so far? Why are officials confident they have the right person?
That is a question we hope to ask here in a press conference, Savannah, in about 45 minutes in this very building behind me. And we know that FBI Director Kash Patel will be in attendance. It was just hours ago, late last night, that authorities released new video that certainly contributed to bringing this person into custody. And in the president's interview, he said some things that were very telling that we're going to be hopefully following up on to gain some clarity, saying that someone close to this person of interest recognized them either from the images or the video that had been released, and then reached out to the father of that individual, who then in turn, according to the president now, convinced this person to join them, and they went to a U.S. Marshal. Now, that is how, if I'm hearing the president correctly, he's laying kind of the timeline of events here. And that would certainly be a best case scenario in that there was no resistance, especially, from an armed standpoint, with this person being brought into custody. Authorities have been very tight-lipped, either from keeping their cards close to the vest or simply because they didn't know very much about this person other than the images and the video that they shared. In this press conference, where we hope to learn more, we do know that state investigators will also be there. They've been working hand in hand with federal investigators since this shooting took place. In fact, I've been told that more than 100 law enforcement personnel have been kind of scouring the scene and the area and have been on the case to try to track down this person. But the governor making it very clear last night that the public was vital here. They needed the public's help, and it led them to conducting more than 200 interviews and fielding thousands of tips. And certainly all of those combined have led to, this person now being brought into custody. The president saying that he believes with a high degree of certainty that this individual is the person who fired that fatal shot, killing Charlie Kirk in broad daylight with thousands of witnesses and attendants as he visited this campus, Utah Valley University, the first stop in what was supposed to be a nationwide tour. Now, earlier, investigators had painted a grim timeline from surveillance footage where they spotted this individual arrive on campus at 11:52 a.m. And then using other camera angles, they were able to follow this person through stairwells and up onto a roof where they say he stretched out in a prone position. And then at around 12:20, just a few minutes after Charlie Kirk began fielding questions from the crowd, they say he fired a single fatal shot that struck Kirk in front of the crowd. Now, we do know that Kirk was rushed to a nearby hospital, but passed away soon after. As for the next steps of the person who pulled the trigger, that video showed them leaping off the building, and that was one of the videos released late last night. Guys?
And Morgan, it seems like one of the videos that made a big difference, knowing that somebody who seems to be familiar with the suspect is actually who alerted authorities. Morgan Chesky in Utah for us. Thank you so much. I want to bring in our national law enforcement and intelligence correspondent, Tom Winter. Tom has been all over this. You actually have some new information for us this morning.
Yeah, Savannah. So it is, as authorities described, an individual in their early 20s, 22 years old, from Utah, the person that is now in custody, believed to be the person who is the suspect. This individual, apparently a family member, saw the photos that have been put out there, the same photos that we're looking at right now, saw those photos, confronted their son, and then called police. At that point, he was taken into custody and right now is in the process of, they're obviously trying to talk to him. We don't know if they're talking to him. But to recap again, this suspect in the early 20s, 22 years old, from Utah, is in custody right now, believed to be the suspect after a family member saw the photos that we've been looking at now for the last 24 hours or so, confronted their son and said, look, effectively, is this you? And at that point, there's a point where he's turned into police, and that's where the investigation stands. I think soon we'll be able to report to you a name on this individual. Obviously, we're in the process of starting to pour over social media accounts, LinkedIn pages, all that type of stuff, to try and determine if anything's been posted by this person over the last several days, anything that could point to a motive. Sometimes people leave writings behind. Rarely they leave a manifesto behind. That'll all be part of the investigation. But to confirm the news that the President of the United States has said himself, just in the last 20 minutes or so, it appears there's been obviously a major breakthrough here.
So could you imagine seeing your son or a family member, their image posted all over, disseminated all over social media and legacy media and just media in general? And then could you imagine? I mean, I would imagine that your heart would just sink. You would just probably feel ill. I mean, you can look at this picture here, and you would probably be able to tell if that is your friend, your family member. Pretty easy, man. And I could just imagine, like, wow. I bet the family member, I think it's the father or whoever saw this photo disseminated on in the news. Their heart probably sank. Their stomach probably turned, like, oh my God, And it says here, a family member noted that Robinson had become more political in recent years and expressed disdain for Kirk, specifically mentioning at a family dinner that Kirk was full of hate and spreading hate, and referencing his upcoming event at Utah Valley University. Wow, this is crazy. So let's go over to the press conference now. They have the press conference talking about, they have Tyler Robinson, the 22-year-old, in custody.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. We got him. On the evening of September 11th, a family member of Tyler Robinson reached out to a family friend who contacted the Washington County Sheriff's Office with information that Robinson had confessed to them or implied that he had committed the incident. Investigators interviewed a family member of Robinson who stated that Robinson had become more political in recent years. The family member referenced a recent incident in which Robinson came to dinner prior to September 10th, and in the conversation with another family member, Robinson mentioned Charlie Kirk was coming to UVU. They talked about why they didn't like him and the viewpoints that he had. The family member also stated Kirk was full of hate and spreading hate. I especially want to thank the family of Charlie Kirk, Erica, Charlie's parents, his children. I want us to be thinking of them as we bring justice in this case. They will be involved in that justice. We will be working very closely with them as we move through this process as well. This is a very sad day for our country, a terrible day for the state of Utah. But I'm grateful that at this moment we have an opportunity to bring closure to this very dark chapter in our nation's history. This is certainly about the tragic death, political assassination of Charlie Kirk. But it is also much bigger than an attack on an individual. It is an attack on all of us. It is an attack on the American experiment. It is an attack on our ideals. This cuts to the very foundation of who we are, of who we have been, and who we could be in better times. I hear all the time that words are violence. Words are not violence. Violence is violence. And there is one person responsible for what happened here, and that person is now in custody and will be charged soon and will be held accountable.
The FBI and our partners are proud to stand here today together to bring justice to the family of Charlie Kirk and honor his memory. I want to express my deep gratitude to President Trump, the Vice President, and the entire White House who have been so incredibly supportive with both resources and just personally to the FBI as a team. They had our backs the entire way, and I just want to express my gratitude for giving us the resources we need to operate in this space to bring this sort of justice at this sort of speed. The arrest is a testament to the dedication of good law enforcement being great and partnerships in law enforcement, which I've tried to highlight as my tenure as the director of the FBI. There is no better relationship for law enforcement than the FBI to partner with state and local authorities, and you've seen it here in these last few days. Lastly, to my friend Charlie Kirk, rest now, brother. We have the watch, and I'll see you in Valhalla.
People that were at the Charlie Kirk tour, the campus tour, they saw this guy on top of the roof. They actually were filming him, and this is him running, off of the roof, jumps off the roof, and he goes over here and he escapes. But people were recording him. My thing is this: I wonder, because of everything that transpired with President Trump, how come people weren't like yelling and screaming like, "Hey man, there's somebody on top of that roof," even if it was nothing? I'd rather be safe than sorry. And why wouldn't they look into securing those rooftops? I don't even get that, because Charlie Kirk was so instrumental in getting President Trump reelected. I mean, I would imagine this guy probably got death threats. And if people are going to take the chance of trying the president of the United States, they're definitely going to try a political activist. They'll try someone who's a political activist with the influence of a Charlie Kirk, obviously. I just don't know. I don't know why they wouldn't secure those roofs, man. That seems strange to me. Very strange. People have this vitriol response to Charlie Kirk, some people, and then some people are lamenting over Charlie Kirk. I have to say this: the man spoke with data. He spoke and debated with data, and he debated with his belief. And if you have a different belief from someone, you should be able to engage in a dialogue and express yourself that way. This guy here took the life of someone who was a strong candidate to have a political future, and then some people probably would think that that's not a good thing. I personally believe that it is, and it's interesting. You have the vitriol response from people saying that he was racist and he was this and that. There's plenty of black podcasters that say he wasn't. They met the man, they talked to the man, they broke bread with the man. They said no, he was not like that. He spoke with data, and he was expressing his point of view through debate. He should be allowed to do that. Do I agree with everything that Charlie Kirk has said? No. And in some cases, I think he could have worded it different. But I have zero disdain for the guy. Matter of fact, I had a lot of admiration for him, and he was somebody that I always checked in on his podcast, and I always checked in on his debates at college campuses. I just thought that the guy was extremely intelligent. And he had a great, in my opinion, he had a really great point of view, and a really great point of view of the world. We'll keep you posted, man, on any more news on the shooter and what's happening with Charlie Kirk. But prayers go out to his wife and kids and his family, man, and everyone that he touched and left an indelible mark. Gone too soon, man. So this is sickening, disgusting. But we'll see if this guy is the shooter. We'll see.